Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. I'm sorry that it took me so long to come up with these videos, but for today's video, let's take a look at some pseudo free-to-play ways that you can deal with like the Immortal Fire Trials and the current Chimera boss. And I say pseudo free-to-play because you have to use Mateo in these content. It's almost certainly a need, but not just because of these content in particular, but a very important thing to take note of is he is really good on his own, not because of these events. So for this video, I think it's a good thing that the current trial bonus is something that is quite irrelevant. It's not important at all. So this is actually going to allow me to show you how he shines very well. So in this case, we're not going to be using broken espers like Yun Chuan. We're going to be using some more free espers. So Ahmed, kind of free because you can get him from the wish pool. Alice as well, you can get her from the wish pool. And I would highly recommend you do so as well. So in this team, the way that you want to run this team is to have full crit rate, or you try to have full crit rate on every single one of these espers. So Ahmed, for example, I gave him a full crit rate here. In terms of PvE content, you don't really need him to be like super tanky. He's still going to work well with like plus 20 plus K HP. It's still going to be fine. The rest goes into his speed. And here are the stats of Alice. So same thing, you want to give her 100% crit rate. So I'm a little bit messing up on this part, but it is what it is. It is pretty decent for the time being. And so I'm just going to like keep it as it is. Then next we have Mateo. If you do not have Mateo, you can always use the Trial Mateo. It's pretty much similar stats, except that the Trial Mateo has about 1000 plus attack less than my own Mateo. But the Trial Mateo does have the Nether set, which allows him to stack his own Eternal Flame stacks a little bit faster, so that ramps up his DPS a little bit sooner, I guess. It is like just a small thing. And then now for Elaine, the way you want to build her is just make her super fast on the Ocean set. Ideally, you want her to be fully skilled up as well. It's a little bit expensive, I know. But full crit on her, and the rest maybe just accuracy. That's about it. I mean, accuracy is not so important for this content in particular, but this is just a generic build for you if you want to run her in like Fafnir or you run her in like Ferberter, for example. Then finally, we have Hall, who is a 3-star Esper. I know you guys have probably already seen videos using Hall, but I just want to showcase him again. So try to get full crit on him, and I decided to build him with the tanky set, not with the offensive set, for the mere fact that I do use him in a Dark Star Lord and I don't shift my equipment around at all. So I do have to keep him with the tanky set over here. So let's take a look at how this works. Now the thing is, if you do not have Alice, you can always use Sienna. It's pretty much the same, just that Sienna eats more turns because she double takes turns on her third skill going into her second skill. But it's just like a small thing, because at the same time, Sienna does help because she stun locks the adds in the front, which means they are not going to use their AoE stuns, because these adds, they do stun on their like second skill or something like that. Okay, so the goal for this fight is to only use single target DPS. So if you use a Yun Chuan, it's still going to be fine, but you're going to kill the adds a little bit too quickly, which could hinder your final score. So the thing is, by killing these adds, the boss does it himself as well. By killing these adds, the boss will actually gain 10 stacks of refuge every single turn that he takes, which means you need to land 10 extra hits before you can start dealing DPS to the boss, which is a major issue. So we want to like mitigate that as much as possible. So we are bringing single target DPS to prevent the adds from dying too soon. Now with that said, that means that the adds are free to do whatever they can do. So like they can land stuns, as you might have seen, my Elaine was stunned for a second over there. So in order to mitigate that, Sienna is probably a good choice in place of Alice. But for the time being, I think Alice is still pretty decent. It's a little bit of RNG because Alice does not have a 100% chance to call in an ally to assist, whereas for Sienna, she has a guaranteed chance to increase the AP of her allies by, I think it was like 15%, right? No, 20% per attack, isn't it? I think so. I can't really recall. So what I want you to pay attention more is the DPS that Mateo is doing here. So he has very low crit damage, right? He has like 90% crit damage. So that's why his actual DPS is not very strong. His actual DPS is like 50k, somewhere around that, right? 30k on his first skill, about 50k or 60k on his third skill, which is not much. But you will be surprised when you see the final DPS chart and you see how much damage he's actually pushing out on his kit. It is like incredibly insane. It's broken. Okay, I wouldn't say it's broken, but his DPS is severely undermined in this regard. In terms of like people think that he is an Esper that is only useful in this current event and this current this current Celestial Anomaly rotation. That is not true at all. See, whenever we are landing crits, the boss is actually taking extra 2000 damage per hit. So when Elaine attacks, or when Ahmed attacks, that is easily like 6000 damage to like 10,000 or 11,000 damage. It is a lot of extra DPS. Okay, so now the front two adds are dead, which means the boss is going to go into refuge every time he takes a turn, which is like after this. Very soon, anytime now. Okay, now, So the boss gains the 10 refuge stacks, which prevents poison DPS from landing on him. So even if you were to run an R2 Yun Chuan, you are not going to be able to counter attack because the boss didn't take poison DPS. So your Yun Chuan is not going to reapply the third eye seal. So there is a little bit of an efficiency loss in that regard when using a Yun Chuan. But obviously Yun Chuan he's still so much better than not having him in this regard anyway. Like even though we clear the ads a little bit quicker, we do also gain the speed up buff, and we do also have the speed debuff on the boss, which is it's always nice to have. So right now it's just a major race against time, and to try to get, I think, 3.8 million DPS before the turn limit comes. For the most part, it is very possible for you to hit the turn limit just by having one single Ahmed. And Ahmed is indeed the best healer over here. He is better than Clara in this regard because the boss lands disease debuffs, I think on like his second skill, I believe. Yeah, disease and poison. Ahmed is able to heal through the disease. Clara is not able to heal through the disease. Hengre is able to heal through the disease, but she don't really bring all that much. So we only have 20 more turns here. I am not thinking that we can do the EX++. Not right now, at least. Maybe we might need a better scoring, like a better trial. So in this current trial, we can only remove debuffs on ourselves, which is it's not going to help us with our DPS. So that's why we're not going to perform that well right now. Yeah, there is no way we can hit 3.8 or whatever that is. But the thing is, just run this team on a day that gives you extra DPS, like extra crit damage per win element aspect on your lineup, all that kind of stuff. It's gonna rotate again in like a couple of days. So that's probably where you might be able to get a better scoring. So we are very close. We were almost there, almost at the EX++, but take a look at the DPS chart. So Mateo is completely blowing the smoke out of the water right here. And I know the rest of our aspers here are not really tuned for DPS, like Elaine for example, or even Hall, but the thing is, they are both single target DPS, and yet the disparity is that big, is that huge. So Mateo actually, in some cases, outperforms Embla in DPS. Now, as for the Celestial Anomaly, let's take a look at the Chimera, and the team that I am running right now is something like this. This is actually introduced to me by Ethan from my Discord server, so shout out to you. So the use of both the twins here are really good because they have a lot of multi-hits in their kit. So like the Black Twin has 4 hits on his second skill, the Black Twin has 7 hits on his third skill because he will then call in his white twin to assist afterwards. So the same thing, you want to have a full crit rate on all of them, although it's not really that important to have full crit rate on the white twin because we do have the Black Twin here to give us extra crit rate. So we can actually reduce the white twin's crit rate by another 30%, and it's still gonna be fine. It's still gonna work out perfectly for us. And of course we have Elaine here. Elaine is just one of the best aspers to run with Mateo. We have Ahmed here as well, same stuff. And we have Mateo himself. And I would definitely recommend you to pull a Mateo because he does provide a 35% speed lead in Celestial Anomaly Chimera bosses, which is very, very useful. So he has a lot of longevity in this sense because the Celestial Anomaly is never gonna disappear. It's always gonna be here. So you will still be able to use him in the future regardless. But without wasting too much time, I'm just going to show you a recording of this team in action and how it performs. And you'll see that it is still going to work out really nicely, even though we are not using a lot of Imprisoner aspers. So like the twins, they are not Imprisoner aspers. And a lot of you guys are going to complain that, okay, why is it that these aspers are not Imprisoner, even though they clearly multi-hit, they are really good. Or like Yun Chuan, for example, right? Why isn't Yun Chuan an Imprisoner Esper? Now, the way I think about it is that these Espers, they are already super good at what they do. So to make them Imprisoner is going to make them a little bit too broken in my opinion. So having Yun Chuan here is just completely broken in my opinion. Like that would push him to be an even bigger requirement than he already is. So for the fact that he is not an Imprisoner and people are already saying that, oh, without Yun Chuan I'm not going to be able to perform, then clearly he shouldn't have been an Imprisoner in the first place because that speaks for itself. Okay, but anyway, that's it for this video. Enjoy the rest of the clip. And if you have any other comments, leave it down in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Very Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.